So there you have it, 2017 in a nutshell. So looking back at 2017, last week we saw on Peace TV, they listed 10 of the major accomplishments and activities. So just to review those briefly, the ones that they identified. Of course, True Parents' birthday and Foundation Day celebration was a really big international event. So many people came from all over. It was quite a phenomenon last year. And on that foundation, then the True Mother established two new organizations to change the broader environment. IAPP is the International Association for Parliamentarians for Peace. You heard me speak about that at that legislative prayer. And just last November, she established the Interreligious Association for Peace and Development. So we're getting the politicians involved, government officials, as well as religious leaders from all over the world. And the Parliamentarians for Peace have had inaugural events all over the world now. So that's already well established and very active. The Interreligious Association is just getting started. Then anyone who's been to Chungpyeong Lake has seen a huge amount of changes and difference. Mother Moon is saying over and over that her vision is, how do I create a new Eden, a holy land that people can come to from all over the world at Chungpyeong. So the Hyeojung HJ Chungwon project is all the renovations and developments that are happening at Chungpyeong Lake. And then we heard all about the hope and unity rallies that happened. There were a number that happened in Korea, culminating in the big one in Seoul at the Olympic Stadium. And then we had the one in America in Madison Square Garden, and then 4 in Japan, at Tokyo, Nagoya, Osaka, and Kanagawa. Big events where True Mother was the main speaker, the main focus for the event. The special strategic nations, we saw a little bit on Africa, because Africa is growing like crazy. There's so many things happening, especially so many tribal leaders, government people, and leaders of huge, millions in their congregation, coming to attend True Parents and receiving the divine principle. But the greatest growth that's happened in the world is in Asia. At the beginning of the year, there were probably around 300,000 members. By the end of the year, there's over 1 million in Asia now. This growth, especially in, of course, including the Philippines and Thailand and Cambodia, and just amazing growth in membership and also in blessings. Then True Mother's goal, of course, is how do we cultivate future leaders? And so that's what GPA is all about. That's also even the winter workshops to nurture our growth and development. She recently established the Youth and Students for Peace, and the inaugural event happened in Thailand with a lot of government officials participating, recognizing how important it is to nurture the young people for leadership roles in the future. And then Mother Moon is talking all the time about the Pacific Rim. The Asia and America are the two sides of that Pacific. And so a lot of activities, even True Mother traveling all these countries to emphasize this Pacific Rim era that we're in. And then, of course, the Seonghwa Festival, Father Moon's the anniversary of his ascension, and also the Hyeojung Cosmic Blessing Ceremony that happens at the same time, people from all over the world. And then the Chungpyeong Providence with the Spirit World, the Hyeojung Chungpyeong Great Works. It's not just in Korea now. You don't have to go, you didn't have to just go to Korea and Chungpyeong for that, but they traveled around Asia, went to Japan, went to South America, and also to Africa to hold these ceremonies. And then the last thing was just the Peace Road. 125 nations have had Peace Road ceremonies. We had our own here, right in Sacramento. Symbolic, but anyway. But around the world, identified this idea about a world road that connects people with the vision of peace. So that gives, there's the quick snapshot of the many things that have been happening providentially around the world. You saw in the talk from Africa, the hope to help their economic development in Africa. So, that inspiring? Yes. It's kind of hard to imagine. We're sitting here in Sacramento like, oh, gee. And to see the incredible development. God has so much hope for this time. And when Pastor Thompson comes and shares on Wednesday nights, he says it's just, his mind is blown when he sees the incredible changes that are happening around the world and the incredible confidence that Mother Moon has that we can really change this world and that we're going to do it. And he says, well, it's like sometimes I struggle, but just to see her confidence and determination and the great hope that the world can change. So, how about Sacramento? Did we do anything last year? I had to think, oh, gee, what did we do last year? No, you saw, we did a lot of things. You can see it on the video, right? Just some broad areas. The biggest, of course, is the youth, and that's really thanks to Peter Mifa. Their incredible investment, so many activities. Yeah, I wish they were here, but give them a hand. Yeah, maybe I'll hear it in the video. But Peter Mifa have done so much for our community, not just the youth, but especially every month they determine and try to have some kind of youth activity for the elementary school, for the middle school, and high schoolers all together. So they've had game nights, right? Movie nights sometimes. Even went bowling. They've had sleepovers. Field trips like to the zoo and outings like to the zoo and to the river like you saw in the video, and that color run that they did for peace, running around William Land Park, right, getting sprayed with colors. Lots of fun and opportunities for fellowship and to make relationships and bonding. So that's an important part of us building our community because for the young people especially. And then how about the band? Yeah, let's hear it for the band. Woo-hoo! Really grateful. I mean, most of you remember with like a little cringing, me up here playing guitar, singing off key, and driving people crazy. Good times. We had to make up for quality with enthusiasm, right? So we just scream a lot, right? But it's so nice to have the band, particularly with Peter leading the way, his investment in some really beautiful music coming out and some investment in quality and the extra time that they put in to that. And especially, of course, today it was great. We had the guest stars, right? Yay! Good for the guest stars. So Young and Naomi, what do they call it? The oldies that come back for the revival tour. Anyway, it's always great, But the band has definitely been a big and I appreciate all the people that participated and continue to participate. Peter Mifa also keeping in mind about the spiritual growth. And so they've always tried to bring in some kind of internal guidance or quality, all of the fellowship activities. But even more, you saw the working together with the high schoolers to put together a workshop for the elementary school kids. That was a great event, and they worked hard to pull that together. Yeah. And we've had a couple of divine principle workshops and studies, especially focused on the young people, high schoolers. I'm really grateful, Yuki Ono, who came back from GPA and has gotten involved and is now working a lot with Peter Mifa. And he started on Sundays, a study group. So instead of Sunday school, it's called Sunday Study. And they had some study sessions where they went through sections of Divine Principle, talked about predestination and the blessing and even fundraising. And even more, they actually got organized and went out and did some fundraising, right? Yeah! They went out and asked for donations out in the parking lot of the Arden Fair Mall. And so they had an experience, had it the Sunday before. They talked a lot about the internal significance and meaning about fundraising. And then also we have the bake sales, right? Some great bake sales, some great baked goods fundraising. And so there's lots of ways that we, for them fundraising for the community. So I really am so grateful for the investment, especially Peter and Mifa, to support our young people in having fun, having great adventures while they're young, and also nurturing them to be leaders in the future. So then the next aspect, I guess, would be our community, right? The things that we did together for our community. And probably the biggest thing we do is we have Sunday service, right? That's when we see each other, mostly on a regular basis. But this year is something special. Instead of just one flavor of message, you get 4 flavors a month, right? You've got James, you've got Eric, and now you have Catherine as well, and also me. So you've got 4 different, yeah! So 4 flavors of messages for your Sunday sermons, and we definitely hit the whole spectrum there, don't we? A broad range. But then again, thanks largely to Peter and Mifa, we have celebrations. Like the celebration we had last New Year's. We'll do one this year for God's Day, for Heavenly Parents' Day. But the candlelight service last year for Heavenly Parents' Day. Peter and Mifa have been the organizers for that. So you saw in the video, Peter and Mifa now are not just a family of 2 or 3, they're a family of 4. So with 2 kids, I suspect it's going to be even more difficult for them to do all these things that they've been doing. So we definitely will be looking for some help. Let's have parties, right? So we need some people to help generate parties and celebrations for our community. And then we've done our worship services sometimes in the park, where we got outside, and we did, for our Peace Road trip, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Day of All Things, out in the park and having our Sunday services out there. So then the other important is our outreach activities. And of course the most fundamental is our home church, our own family, and then with our community in our neighborhood. As a broader community, we had 2 Universal Peace Federation breakfasts focusing on the blessing of marriage, and especially that marriage rededication. And grateful for, especially Mike and Tomoko kind of pioneered the way in terms of conducting marriage rededication ceremonies for already married couples to participate in the blessing of marriage. The interfaith activities, Rutherford Smith has been our main representative with the Interfaith Council of Greater Sacramento. Grateful for his participation and his effort there. You saw him at that night of spoken word, speaking, and also I was at the legislative breakfast because of the Interfaith Council inviting us to participate. And then the Goppers have been very active up in Wheatland. Of course, their annual Martin Luther King event, which thank you, the Browns and the band that went up and helped. You saw them performing, right? Isn't that great? Investment in really making the Martin Luther King event something special for their community. And also, Marie was the inspiration behind pulling together that American Clergy Leadership Conference event. So those are our big outreach activities. Now, getting to the practical things, then we have finances. Financially, we're doing okay because we have a big nest egg that we're sending. But actually, now we're actually, this year, pretty much we're starting to spend down our savings. So every month we kind of a little bit over, like between $400 or $500 to $600 over our expenses or over our income. So anyway, that's something we'll be looking at in the future. So how about the future for our community? Looking ahead, I'm really looking forward to more youth leadership. The young people taking more hand last year with organizing the Divine Principles, the high schoolers working with the elementary school. That was lots of fun, lots of challenges. But again, as Peter and Mifa have more responsibility for their family, we want to be able to support them even more. Of course, the Blessing of Marriage movement and our outreach is home church and tribal messiahs. This is really our future, where the future is. One other practical note is that our lease on this place ends in July. So that's another opportunity for us. We have decided, well, are we going to stay here, renew our lease? Or are we going to look for someplace else? Or are we going to make a change? So we've got some thinking to do about our future. So that's like a quick just snapshot. Let's look at the past year, some thoughts for the future, but let's bring it down. I just want to conclude with a couple of thoughts for us as individuals. Because, at the end of the year is a great time for us to look back on the previous year and reflect on the year. And as unificationists, the purpose of life, we're always focused on the purpose of life and the three great blessings, right? To be fruitful, to multiply, have dominion over the things of creation. So when we look back, we look at our accomplishments. I encourage you to even get a piece of paper out. Write down the things that you feel really happy about that you accomplished last year, the things that you did. Look at any special experiences or adventures that you had. Things, I really want to remember this. This year was like a great thing that happened to me last year. And this is a great thing that I accomplished last year. Some of my accomplishments, my victories. Remember, we have to claim our victories, right? So now is a good time, this afternoon or tomorrow on your New Year's Day. But I encourage you, get it on paper. Write it down. The accomplishments, your victories, your special experiences, and lessons and reflections on things that you've learned. Maybe things that you want to change or correct, on the past. But then looking forward for the next year, of course, there's always goal setting, but we like to set our goals based on the purpose of life, right? The three great blessings. To be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the creation. Pretty much everything we do, we can put into one of these three big buckets of the purpose of our life. The first great purpose is our own individual maturity, growth, and perfection, our mind-body unity centered on God. So when I encourage you, when you look at your goals and reflections, think about, okay, what goals or what do I have about me, my own development, and my relationship with God, our Heavenly Parent. Really encourage you, if you don't already have a regular quiet time to meet with God, to spend time with God, please make that investment. God's looking for to be an active part of our lives. And we do that by inviting God to be part of our lives, to be part of what we're doing. So I encourage you, create that quality time. Hunduke, our study time, is also where we nourish ourselves, grow ourselves spiritually, and include all these things in the first set of goals. And then, of course, that's our relationships with people, the second great blessing in our life. With our family, the challenges in our family, but our community, our neighbors, our outreach to our friends and family. The people that God brings across us in life are our tribe, that we're messiahs to. So how can I move my relationship with my coworker, with my neighbor, with my friend to a deeper level, another level? I encourage you to pray and reflect about this and even think about the people that are important in your life and look at my goals in terms of how can I make a larger difference in the lives of people around me. And then, of course, me and the world, things, finances, possessions, all that stuff that we're always wrestling with and we enjoy so much, but also we have sometimes a hard time with. Maybe there's something about our finances that we need to pay attention to. Or how about how I treat my things? How clean do I keep my room? Ooh! How about organizing things? How organizing all my stuff? I've got a lot of stuff. How much stuff do I really need? And getting it organized. So when we think about goals, it's always, for me, useful to think about things in terms of these three great purposes. My own individual growth, perfection, and maturity, particularly in my relationship with God, our Heavenly Parent. Then my relationship with the people in the world around me, and my relationship with all the stuff of the world, all the things of creation. So I want to close with just this from Mother Moon. It's from the Chumbo Myogyong. She's actually, this is from a talk she's giving about the Wonmyo Pyonghwa Foundation, the foundation that gives scholarships to young people. Mother Moon says, do not make your goal just to attend school, study, go to a good university, and get a job where you earn lots of money. The most important goal is to become a person who fulfills the three great blessings given by God. Become a person who loves heaven, loves people, loves your country. If you develop your intellect, skill, and ability with that goal, you will realize a great vision. Amen? Okay. So let's look back on the past year and then look forward to the next year. Please join me as I offer a prayer. Good morning, Father, Mother, God, our loving Heavenly Parent. We're ending this year of 2017 with so many things to be grateful for. Please remind us and keep in our heart and minds, if we reflect on this past year, the many things that we have to be grateful to you for. And claim the victories, the successes, and the great experiences, and especially, Heavenly Parent, that we can determine for the next year to break through, especially in our realm of heart, in our relationship with you, our relationship with the people around us, and the relationship with the things of creation. Heavenly Parent, we're so grateful for the many blessings we have, and determined to bring joy to you, to bring healing to the world and the environment around us, and to be a blessing to all those people that we know. As your sons and daughters and as blessed Central families, we offer up this prayer, this past year, and determination for this new year. Amen and Aju.